What's up, Sheepdog Nation? What's going on? Welcome to another podcast with your host, me, Autumn Clifford. I'm really excited to be here as always. Today's topic, what I want to talk to you about, is the fact that you are not alone. As a sheepdog, as a first responder, as a member of the military, even as a sheepdog spouse or somebody looking to get into law enforcement, looking to come into Sheepdog Nation, you are not alone. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. A couple announcements that I would like to make, okay? First is I want to make an announcement to anybody who is a female. If you're looking to get into law enforcement, if you are in law enforcement, you want some support, you want some community, you want some guidance, but you really can't afford a lot because let's be honest, like you're busy maybe, or you don't have a job because you're trying to get into the job. I created the Lady Sheepdog Club. It's for you. It's free. It's free to sign up. And then after that, for 7 days, after that, it's only $27 a month. You can't beat it. There's over 100 hours of content on there in the membership site for you. Then we also have a private Facebook group where I personally go in and help the women in there. So there's going to be a link below this podcast. Please check it out. I'm telling you right now, it's the only program I've seen nationwide specifically working with females who are either in law enforcement or wannabe. It's fantastic. The second announcement I'd like to make is and I'll talk more about it after this podcast, but I've opened up a couple of slots for life coaching. So specifically for sheepdogs, sheepdog nations, spouses of, etc. Because I have many, many, many sheepdogs that reach out to me on honestly a daily basis, and they're in my inbox. And you guys you're not alone, okay? You're not alone. You're opening up to me. You're talking to me about things that you would never talk to the guys about. And while I'm just so happy that I can be this person that you can message, right? We need to take it to a whole new level. You're going to need to talk to somebody on a daily or a weekly basis anyways. And you need to start getting the shit off your chest. Like we've really got a problem with how the lack of support in law enforcement, right? Or for even our military, but specifically law enforcement, I can speak to that because I was a cop. We really have a lack of support, and that goes all the way around the block. Our spouses don't know what's going on, our families don't know, our friends don't know. And then the public makes everything worse, and then the guys and girls we work with, like, it's a big ego trip, so no one's gonna fucking admit that anyone's having a hard time, because when somebody admits that, they get their balls busted, right? There's no support from the admin, or what they're gonna do is send you to go see fucking counselor or a psychologist, and then you don't want to go do that because you don't want to get labeled as crazy, right? I got you. Okay. So life coaching is none of that. It's something that has completely changed my life. The moment I got injured, I hired a life coach, a very expensive one, and it helped me. It helped me, and it's changed my life, and it's the reason why I'm surviving now. Because if you think that getting hurt, being told, at 26, 27 years old, like, you're done, your career's done. I mean, that was fucking devastating for somebody, okay, who's put 4 years in to getting a criminal justice degree, I was a cop when I was 20 years old, and like, that's all I was ever going to do. So, hell, I'm marrying, a state trooper. So, it's devastating. And life coaching saved my life. I've seen a counselor, got diagnosed and with PTSD and an anxiety disorder. And then my life coach picked up the slack. So anyways, I have a couple of openings for that for you. Reach out to me, email me, private message me as soon as you can. So before these slots fill up, because I've announced it a few times and I've gotten a lot of messages. So before I start going through them, if this is something that you want, something that you need, I want you to reach out to me. Okay. So let's dive on in with our topic today. Okay. Well, I should probably introduce myself. If you're brand new to me, let me introduce myself to you. So I have been a police officer since I've been 20 years old. When I turned, I think I was between 26 and 27. I had to medically retire from law enforcement. I still do have a really, really bad back injury. And it pretty much was a career ender. And back injuries are very common in law enforcement. And that's a whole nother show that I'm going to go on a rant about. Remind me. Anyways, and so I suffered for a couple of years. I was kind of depressed. I started a couple of different online businesses. I replaced my full-time income as a police officer from working from my couch, coaching. And then I while I was coaching cops through the cracks, their wives, EMT wives, themselves, cops themselves, military spouses, all that. I was coaching, but I wasn't really focused on coaching law enforcement or sheepdogs anyways. And so uh, up until recently, I pulled my head out of my ass and said, holy shit, like my people need me. My sheepdogs need me. The people that I get and the people that get me, right? They know that I know where they're coming from. And so that's what I do now. So basically I see myself as a voice for the blue because I can say pretty much everything you can't because you are employed and I am self-employed. It's a beautiful thing. Anyways, so this is a really good time that if you are in public or if you have a child or children around you, turn this down or put headphones on because it's about to get fucking real, like always, right? Okay, so here's the deal, you guys, is you know how like all the time like you run around and you really kind of just feel like nobody else gets what the fuck is going on, right? Like nobody gets you. You get yourself so spun up. You're like, you know what? Nobody understands me. They don't fucking get it. They're not a cop. Like they don't get it. Like they don't even get it. And then you see, and then like you find yourself like, you're at work and like the guys and girls that you work with, like you tell yourself like they don't fucking get it. Oh, they're fucking happy. They're fucking assholes. That fucking, that really bad fucking fatal crash, it didn't bother them like it's bothering me. Like I don't understand. Like what the fuck is wrong with them? Or you'll be standing at a fucking horrific crime scene and everyone's cracking fucking jokes, right? And you're like, what? Like, holy shit. Like, they're so fucked up. Like, they just don't get it. You go home, you don't take that shit lightly, right? And you just keep telling yourself, like, holy fuck, nobody gets it. And then what happens? You seclude yourself, right? You're like, I'm not fucking hanging out with them. No, they don't fucking get me. Fuck them. Then you're like, no, I'm not talking to my parents about this. Like, they don't get it. They don't get me. And then you're like, fuck them and fuck everyone. Like nobody gets it. And so I want you to know that is it's a dangerous fucking cycle. It's a downward spiral. I've been on it. I've, coached a lot of cops out of this cycle because we all get on it. And a lot of it's because we just seclude ourselves because like we just initially think that nobody understands us. And the truth is a lot of people don't understand us. But there's also not a lot of support out there like showing cops like, hey, like I get you and you need to talk to somebody and blah blah blah. Like no, there's like nothing out there that like explains our lives for us and like the experiences that we have for us. And I get that, okay? If you're in my Sheepdogs Unite Facebook group, I post a lot of shit and like I do a lot of trainings. I did some free trainings. I've posted a lot of resources for you guys to listen to help your head, especially like, while you're on duty, even when you're not on duty, just to really help your mind get back in the game. And I think that'd be really beneficial for a lot of you, especially if you're kind of feeling like you're kind of slipping a little bit going into that negative, downfall. When I got hurt, and I don't know how many of you listening, I don't know, if you've ever been hurt on the job and out, but to any extent that you've been hurt now, I mean, it sucks because nobody talks to you or one or two people will check on you. And, you were such the guy to be, right? Or the girl to be, you were out there, you were fucking hustling, you were fucking, slaying traffic, whatever, you did what you did, and then you got hurt, and then you kind of just feel like, fuck, like I'm not the man anymore, or I'm not the woman, like and no one gives a shit. And then that's kind of when like reality sets in that you're just a number. And I'm not trying to get shitty on you. I'm just trying to get like real. I'm really about keeping it fucking real for you. And this job does become our life. Like it really does become our life. And like, I get that. And I'm not making you wrong for it. Like, I know, there's statistics and there's books out there that say, that's a huge mistake for cops because they completely self-identify. And I do think it is. But I can tell you as somebody who's obviously been in the job, but that now that I'm out, like you don't ever really stop self-identifying as that because it is not just a job. Like it is totally a lifestyle. And you don't get it unless you are one. And I get, like, it's really probably not that healthy, but you know, it is difficult. It is difficult, and you don't really ever, like, you don't really realize that you do it until you're out of it, okay? Or like you're fucking injured and you're like, fuck, like, and you get like really down and depressed, right? Because like you're injured and like nobody's fucking reaching out to you and you're no longer the man or the woman, right? Like, and that's really hard. Like, that's really hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. I've seen a lot of cops get super depressed about that shit. This is a step of you not. I'm reaching out to you and I'm telling you right now, you've got to really watch that. A cop with a really good mindset is not going to let that shit get to him, okay? Like, you've got to figure out other things to go and do, and other things to like put your head into, so that if you ever get injured, or you have to take time off from work for whatever, because stupid shit fucking happens and we have to go on administrative leave, right? Like, you've got to really have other hobbies so that you don't become so like completely caught up in the shit that you just don't even know you don't know anything else. Like, you're just a cop, and it really means a lot to you that everyone looks up to you, and it means a lot to you that people are reaching out to you and like you hanging out with your buddies and stuff like that. But like, there's going to be situations where like that just can't happen, and it's going to fuck with your head. And I'm going to tell you straight up that that's exactly what happened to me. When I got hurt, the PD told everyone not to talk with me. So my partner, the guy who I fucking literally would take a bullet for, this fucking guy, Adam and I got to know him and his now wife. Like, they were like best friends of ours, fucking loved them. We actually got uninvited from their wedding. And that, I'm fucking telling you, you want to talk about fucking, yeah. So anyways, you can just imagine how that made me feel, right? Well, that happens a lot. And like, I've seen a lot of other cops have to go through, like, not necessarily getting uninvited from their wedding. And that was simply because it's a political game. But, it does, shit like that happens. Like, people that you work with, like, they'll just stop talking with you and stuff. And so I want you to know this, like, you're not alone. Okay. Like, if you're going through that, if you're facing that, like, you're not alone. You're not alone with those fucking, the feelings of like, massive anxiety, massive frustration, massive like anger towards like everybody and everything. Like, I have felt that. So many cops have felt that. Like, people that reach out to me, I'm telling you, even what I've seen with my friends and my family, like, that are in the job and shit, like, it's very normal. And, you're very, chances are you're pretty damn cynical. Chances are you're a pessimist and not an optimist. And I want you to know now, I want you to know that it's normal. Now, if you were to coach under me, would I try to help change you from being a pessimist to an optimist? Yes, I would, because you live a much better life. I know, because I went from being a pessimist to an optimist, and I've changed my life. And, anyways, but I just want you to know that you're not alone. I think that this is a fucking huge message. We have a really high suicide rate in police officers that is fucking pretty much being pushed under the rug. We've got a high rate of suicide in the military, right? And that's kind of being pushed under the rug. I think that more sheepdogs need to know that they're not alone. Those feelings of like really fucking feeling down and like just want to sit on your couch and just fucking watch TV for an entire day and like just fucking binge, like, you're not alone. Do I want you to do that? No. But I want you to know that you're not alone either. And I'm not saying like that behavior is okay. Believe me, like I told you, like, if I was your coach, I'd make sure your ass was up and fucking had things to do. But I mean, you're not alone. A lot of cops do that. A lot of cops need to fucking like just completely take their mind off life and go and do shit. And like, why do you think affairs happen? Like, why do you think fucking all these, a lot of the cops I know, fucking, I'll tell you right now, they can put some beers back because they built up that tolerance, right? Why? They do stupid shit like that. They go and buy fucking new vehicles every damn day, fucking always got to have the latest toys, the greatest toys. And, and the reason for that is because, it's an adrenaline thing. It's, we're bored. We gotta have our mind focused on something completely different, than the job. And it's definitely something that is common. I'm not saying it's healthy and I'm not saying it's good for you, but it's definitely common. And I just want you to know that if you're going through any of that, if you've seen these cycles, if you've seen these patterns, like you're not alone, but you need to get some help. Okay. Like, because if you don't, it's going to ruin you. You don't want to be one of these fucking guys that, when you retire, you drop dead, or when you retire, you have nothing. Like you're fucking divorced, you're living in a goddamn trailer, and your kids don't even like you. You're overweight, you're a fucking alcoholic. Like you don't want to be that person. Okay. And I'm not saying that's where you're headed specifically, but I can just say that I've seen it far too many times, time and time and time again. I know cops that are still working the road. They've been on the road for 30 plus years. They have no fucking reason, no business to be on the road other than they have nothing else in their lives. They have nothing else in their lives. Like they're like, well, what the fuck else am I going to go do? I've put my heart and soul into this job, lost everything I have. And what the fuck else am I going to go do? And that's the truth, and that is the truth. And so, we just, and to me, those people didn't survive the job. At the end of the day, you guys, this job is a job. It becomes our lives. We fucking choose it over our families too many times to count. We we sacrifice everything that like normal people would never sacrifice. We miss our kids' fucking most special days because of this fucking job, right? And I'm not shitting on it, but I'm just saying. And it's like this fucking like it's almost addiction, right? It's like almost an addiction that like what they call it's like fuck, I don't want to go in, fuck this place. But then like the moment you say no, you're like, fuck, dude, like I feel like a dink, like I gotta get in there. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And the whole time after you say no, I'm not coming in, like your head races, right? Or maybe not for all of you, but for some of you it does. And I'm just saying, like, you're not alone. Okay. You're not alone in how you feel. The anxiety, the PTSD, you're not alone. I think that far too many officers will never tell anybody that they have any of those issues, and not talk to anybody. I think that, you're not alone. If you had an affair or you did something stupid, and you fucked up, you're not alone. I know a lot of cops fucking get busted drinking and driving. I'm not condoning it. Just telling you you're not alone, man. And but what I am telling you is this. Doesn't need to be a career ender. Anything that I've said to you does not need to be a career ender, nor does it need to be a life ender. What it needs to happen is you need to get some help. And when I tell you help, okay, I fucking hate that because you can punch me in the face later about that because I don't fucking mean that, right? What I mean is you need some support. You need somebody in your fucking corner who has your back, right? You need somebody who understands you. And like, whether you come to me or whether you can find your own thing, like this isn't a big old sales pitch to come to me. Although, I mean, obviously I would love to have you come to me because I can fucking help you, but I'm not trying to like just sell me. I'm just trying to tell you like, I've had this really unique opportunity to become very intimate. Like, okay, that sounds like, no, that's not what I mean. But as a coach, you develop a very intimate relationship. And what I don't mean sexually intimate, what I mean is you really get to know somebody. Okay. And, from a coaching relationship, a coaching aspect, like you get to know somebody because they're going to confide in you and they're going to tell you these things. Right. And so you really develop a very, you develop a relationship that is unlike anything else. Like, and it's like I said, it's not sexual. It's not like this, like a relationship, like a love relationship. It's just, you get to know somebody on a deep level as well as, the coachee, the client, like they get to know like their coach, right? I mean, I've been doing this for 2 years. Like I know I've coached over hundreds of women. Like I get this. Okay. And so like, but what I'm trying to say is that like, it's a very unique thing, but it's deep and it helps because all those times that you've sat there and you've been like, no one fucking gets me, fuck this place, fuck this, like I'm gonna go buy this fucking boat because I don't really have the money, but I have a credit card. I don't really have the money, but I have the credit. I'm gonna go fucking, you know what? That chick over there, that guy over there, damn, fucking grass is greener on the other side, bro. Fucking my wife, my husband, my fiance, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, they don't know. They don't need to know. And they don't get me. Like they don't get me. And they don't get what the fuck I'm talking about either. Right? Like all of this shit piles up. Piles up. And It's not good, right? It's not good. And we've seen it. And I'm fucking speaking the truth right now. I am, because if you haven't experienced it yourself, you've seen it. I know you fucking seen it. How many times has you've been a rookie officer and you look around at the fucking PD, you look around at the guys and you go, fuck. I don't want to end up like that guy, that girl, that guy, or that girl. I do not want to end up like them, right? And then what fucking happens 5 years, 10 years down the road? You start acting more and more and more like them. And before you know it, you totally forgot that you sat in your cruiser your first fucking month of FTO and you were like, I'm not going to end up like that one, that one, that one. Next thing you know, you're exactly fucking like them. And what's the difference? There is no difference, because you were just like them and you decided not to get any support. You decided not to be, surround yourself around people who get you, that you can talk openly with. You decided to be fucking act like you're tough, right? Just like they do. And look where it got them. Fucking overweight, miserable, divorced 3 times, kids with 5 different fucking people, and broke as a joke because they've got child support. They've got don't worry, they have a nice truck, but they live in a fucking shithole. Their face is always red because they're an alcoholic. They're overweight. I mean, any day you think they're going to have a fucking heart attack. And they're in the job fucking 25 plus years as a patrolman or a detective or a road sergeant, right? And there's nothing wrong with those positions, but when you're on the job for fucking 30 years, I mean, fuck that. Like, I could not work the road for 30 years. I don't know about you, but I couldn't. And you know what would have saved them is the same thing that I'm reaching out to you and I'm telling you to go do. Get your ass some support, okay? Cops are cheap about a lot of things. Not gonna lie about it, okay? I know we don't make a ton of money. I know. But let me just tell you this. If you don't get your mind right, it's not gonna be good, okay? I've been there. I've done it. I'm telling you. I invested over $50,000 in life coaching. That's the truth. And believe me, Adam almost fucking wanted to leave me for it too. But now I fucking coach his ass. And so there's a fucking benefit to that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, this episode really is all about letting you know that you are not alone, no matter what. You may feel like you're alone. You may feel like you're the only one who's gone through these things, who have seen these things, who have these feelings, but you're not. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've experienced every fucking thing that you have. No, but I've experienced the majority. You might have been in a situation that has fucked you up. And maybe you've seen a counselor or two and nothing makes you feel better, right? I'm just saying, go find somebody, who gets you. Because I think that there's a difference between seeing a counselor or a psychologist who sits on, they sit on their little pedestal there. There's a difference between that versus having somebody who's going to understand where you're coming from, not going to judge you, who you guys are going to be able to talk the talk, and you're going to be able to figure out new strategies, new ways to cope. You're going to feel like somebody actually has your back. And that feeling, I'm fucking telling you, it's priceless. So I fucking paid out the ass for it. Anyways, and like I said, doesn't need to be with me. I mean, like I said ahead of time, right? Like, I would love for you to reach out to me. Doesn't need to be with me. Go find yourself somebody if you want to. But I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't found a life coach that really fucking supports the blue, who's been, a coach, who's, been a cop and has been fucking supporting the blue. Like, I don't know. Haven't found him. But maybe you have. You can let me know. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. This episode, a little bit shorter, but it's straight to the point. I know that there's fucking sheepdogs that need to hear this. When you get to this point, and you fucking can think of somebody, you can think of other people that really need to hear this, please go ahead, share this out. The next and one last final announcement I want to tell you is that we are, I think after this episode we'll hit 5,000 downloads. So I'm going to be offering a couple of very aligned companies to sponsor or sponsor our podcast. And what does that mean? I'll give them shout outs throughout the podcast. So I've already got 2 that are going to be coming in, but I have room for 2 more. So if you are a blue company and you're interested in being shouted out and being, in front of, over 5,000 people of a very targeted audience, hit a sister up. Let me know. Come onto my Instagram. If you're not following me I'm at the Lady Sheepdog on Instagram. Come into the Sheepdogs Unite Facebook group. And if you're a female and on the road, or you want to be on the road, I have no fucking idea why you're not in the Lady Sheepdog Club. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and tell you and think that it's because you haven't heard of it yet. Anyways, all these links will be posted below. I can't wait to see what y'all have to say about this episode, and I will talk to you later.